Let's start the show. Don't bring your kids. Yo, speaking of that, Charlie Murphy was talking about how Eddie, since he was a kid, always knew that he was like gonna be famous, and I thought it was cool, like for a kid at like 7 years old to just know and then accomplish that. It was wild.
There's a memory that I thought of recently that kind of goes along with that. When I was growing up, I must have been maybe 8 or 9 years old, 10 maybe. And this is before I had a drum set or before any of that. Mm-hmm. I got a pair of sticks, and I set up in my living room. I'm sure my mom and dad will remember this. I just put a bunch of like couch pillows on the floor, like in a little arrangement, and had like VH1 or something turned on the TV, and I was just playing along, just rocking out. And I knew that I was a drummer then. I knew. I was like, this has to be something I do. And maybe not this is what I'm going to do forever, but this is something that definitely strikes a chord. And something that I knew that I wanted to do.
I never had that career-wise. I never knew like what I was going to do. It's funny. I had a clear image of what I wanted by 30. I wasn't sure how I was going to get there. Yeah. But in my mind, it's funny. I tell this story like to friends. I saw the house before we got it, and I legit it was funny. Like after we got the house, I was like, "Oh, this is the house I really saw in my head since I was little." And it's funny. Like I would down to where the garage is, down to where you walk in.
Really?
In my mind, I was like, my house is gonna be. You walk in, boom, 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 boom. The garage is gonna be here. The kitchen is gonna be here. And then after I got the house, I had forgot that. And when I got the house, I was like, this is the exact house I knew I was gonna have.
That's crazy.
And I was like,
that's a wild story.
Yeah, and I was like, we bought the house, I was 28. And since I was a kid, I was like, by 30. I was like, by 30, I will have.
You made it with 2 years to spare.
Yeah, I was like, by 30, I will have a kid, a house, and I will be married.
We have a running joke here at the office, and when I say we, it's me. I call Tony Damas, because Tony has an uncanny ability to predict what is going to happen next with our business. Whether that be with the business or with people that deal with the business or clients, he is able to freakishly predict sometimes what's going to happen next. So that doesn't surprise me that you knew the layout of your house. Really? Come on, man. Come on.
There's a reason for some of that.
That's wild. My goodness.
The good news we got last week, I kind of touched on that as far as this is going to happen.
Yeah,
and I have my reasons
as
to why this is going to happen. And it's like, I'm not sure. I was like, this one I feel
pretty good about.
This one's going to happen. And I got reasons. And I got...
Speaking of... I texted you last night. We watched that new movie, Soul. And I'm not going to give away the movie, but there's a great message behind the movie, and it's something that I've kind of aligned myself with in the last 5 years.
Okay.
About just the meaning of life, and not from like a religious or a philosophical way of thinking, but like day-to-day life and finding joy in the mundane and finding joy in the everyday things. If you can do that, you really can be happy. So that's kind of the purpose of the kind of the main point of the movie. And I really have subscribed to that way of thinking in the last couple years, man. Because like this job, when I was 18 years old and drumming for a living and performing all over the world and all over the country, that was going to be it. Like I've made it. I had no clue that I could find so much joy doing this, so much joy doing anything other than that, and the movie kind of hits on that. You get to points in your life where you've just obsessed over one thing so much, and in your mind you've said, when I get that, I've done it, I've made it.
Right.
And sometimes when you get there, you go, this doesn't feel maybe the way I imagined it feeling. So I've found great joy and great purpose in the work that we do. which I thought I never would find anything similar to my love and passion for music and in creating music and writing music. It's so funny. The same feelings I get doing that, I feel the same things when we're editing and we're laughing about an edit and we're laughing at it because it's so good or something worked out so well. There's magic in many of these things in your life. It's there. You just got to be able to think of it like that. You know, there's magic in everything, baby. There really is.
I'm glad you were able to enjoy the movie without, because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
My kids seen the movie and my wife seen the movie.
Yeah.
But I saw online just people like this. So there's a crowd of people. Maybe you've seen it, maybe not. That were like, the point of that movie is a black man can't get a movie of his own without being inhabited by a white woman who takes over for the whole movie. It was like can't give a black person a movie, huh?
Oh man,
that's the point. A lot of people saw it. Like I saw a lot of people on my timeline like, oh, so Disney can't allow a character to just be black the whole movie, huh? I'm like, I haven't watched it yet just because I don't know the animation of it hasn't really appealed to me.
Maybe I'm I don't know. I pride myself on I don't really associate with those kinds of thinkings and feelings. I don't see that anymore. Like I haven't for a long, long time. Like, and maybe that's just me being ignorant. But I thought the message of the movie was wonderful, and it has nothing to do with skin color or race or any of that, guys.
Yeah,
like, what are we talking
that all
about?
over online. Like,
why does it have to always be about it?
I saw video reaction after video reaction of like, so black man can't have a movie. Like,
yo, what? Yes, what are you talking about? Yes,
I will say this. That's something I saw for real, but it's in a serious response to that.
Wild.
You will find the devil wherever you choose to look for him.
This is true.
Like always remember that.
My goodness.
If you are actively looking for it, you will find it.
Yeah.
Good or bad, actually. That's double edged. So if you already have a preconceived thought, and you're going in there kind of like looking for how is this gonna be the way I always assumed it was, then you will find it. It's kind of like the joke that a lot of single men or guys that are dating are saying, like, you know, when your girlfriend's looking through your phone looking for you cheating, she'll find it. You know, like just she'll every text from anyone will be like, yeah, this is suspect. This is suspect. I knew it. This is proof. Like
you don't have to get into your personal life, but like it's so funny. That is funny to hear that. That's silly. I've never thought of it that way. It is kind of cool. Me and my wife, like that's just not a, you know, our phones are interchangeable. So whatever phone is closest, that's what we're using to Google stuff and text family or you know, look up maps. God, I can't imagine living a life where it's like, well, what? You need my phone for what? What do you need my phone for? It's like, oh man.
Yeah, no.
Really?
As far as that goes, you know, I'm that way only because I just don't like my things to be touched, because I find that people don't put stuff back where they belong. So I'm always like, don't touch my stuff. Just leave it alone. Yeah. Only for that reason. As far as the feelings of like this personal stuff in it is nothing personal. I'm an adult and I'm incredibly comfortable in my own skin. I will tell you what is wrong with me and what is right with no issue at all.
We're at that age where, come on, man.
Yeah, there's honestly very few things that I keep private. Like I'm trying to think now, like what are some things that Matt could actually that I would say I'd rather not.
There's
literally like nothing that I would hide. Like
Dude, we've talked about it all.
Nothing.
We've talked about it all together, dude.
Like, so I say that to say that maybe people are just not. They have some kind of guilt in the back of their head. They have some kind of like insecurity. But I'm very secure with who I am and what I'm doing with my life, and I don't have those issues. I don't. I find it funny when I got friends that are around my age that still have those issues. I'm like, yeah, when is that? When is that ever calm down? You ever gonna?
Some people don't grow up.
You ever gonna hit the American dream and just do the whole settle down? And
it's not for everybody. Apparently, it's not for everybody, and that's fine. That's the beauty of this country. But yeah, it is funny to look at as we get older in our older age. It's interesting, especially because of social media, because we're able to, at least from a bird's eye perspective, keep tabs on everybody that we've kind of come in contact with over the years. And some of my old friends from my time in the Marine Corps, or whether it be, you know, high school even. So I got some high school people on there. It's fun to kind of just watch from afar, isn't it? And go, man, you haven't changed one bit. At least from what I could tell.
Yeah, no, I got a ton of people on Facebook, and I could say I know a lot of people from high school still, and I could use the vague thing of friend. I really could reach out to a bajillion people, and I'm sure I'd get answers on the phone, and we'd laugh like it was yesterday. But there's very few actual friends that I keep in touch with. Like on one hand, it's like there's a couple people I speak to on a regular basis. That's it. But yeah, there's a ton of people from high school I still keep in contact with, like on Facebook. Quick laugh here, that was funny, whatever the heck. Like,
I'll tell you, social media has made me reevaluate, maybe not reevaluate whether I should be a friend with this person, but it really has shown a side of people that, you know, I've never knew when I knew them. And it's funny because we're old enough to say before social media. A lot of these friends that I had was before social media. You know what I'm saying? Like my early days, outside, graduating high school into my early time in the Marine Corps. I mean, this was the only social media that was out there was, it had just started was MySpace, and nobody took that seriously.
Yeah, and it's
you know what I mean?
And it's not that social media by itself didn't do anything. I think what happens is that, for example, school. We knew people in school, so 99% of the conversations revolved around events that happened in school. If we were to hang out every single day
at their house
and listen to their parents and go to work with them and go to their other friend's house,
might be a completely
we would
different
hear
story.
these same exact things that we see on social media.
Yeah.
So social media, we're now getting their other thoughts that, I just wasn't with him every single day, so I never got his take on Black Lives Matter or whatever. Like I never heard it because it never came up because we were always joking about what happened in the lunchroom.
Sure. It's a good point. And sometimes I look at it and go, like Michael Scott, shut up. Like, stop talking.
Yeah, sometimes
you better stop. You gotta stop putting it all out there, man. I see people that are just airing it out, their grievances and their opinions and their dirty little details of their life, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, say what you will about the cancel culture. I personally don't subscribe to that. I don't like that because I think everybody should have the grounds to make mistakes and learn from them.
Sure.
But this is a real thing out there, and it blows my mind how vocal people are when like all your information is up there. I can Google your name and find out where you live, where you work, and there's a lot of like petty people that if they see an opinion they don't like, they'll start sending emails to your boss and look what he wrote on Facebook and stuff. Like these things actually happen, where people are like sending stuff and getting people fired.
No, this is real.
So it's like I go back to The Godfather. Never tell somebody outside of the family what you're thinking. That's the bottom line. Like, we talk about certain things, and I'm sure people, because I've had friends that brought it up, man, you guys really tiptoe around some conversations. It's like, well, we got a business, we got families. Matt has very different thinking on some things than I do, so vice versa, and we have very similar thinkings than I do. There's some things that we're old now. We're not doing this to launch a whole political debate or a debate on anything, really. There's some good conversations.
We're just talking, baby.
I'll say this. Honestly, I don't mind a debate. I don't care for the social media debates. I don't care for the social media insults and back and forth and the whole, because I'm like, not to be a tough guy, but you wouldn't say these things if we were in the same room.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't have the patience for the back and forth on a keyboard just to go through that and the insults going through that. Like,
that's another one. I have a number of friends that post a lot of political crap, and I really try not to just unfollow people because I like to see it all, man. I really do. I try to see all of it so that I can somehow navigate the middle. But I love it when you see a post and then you look underneath the post and it's like 81 comments. And I'm like, oh, they are arguing in these freaking comment sections. And sometimes I just love it. It's like that meme everybody does with Michael Jackson, eating popcorn.
Oh, yeah, eating the popcorn.
I came here for the comments.
Eats popcorn.
It's so silly, man. People get really, really, really upset on the internet. Isn't that fun?
And I go back to...
Isn't that fun?
One thing that makes me sound like a boomer or whatever is I go back to you guys don't talk to each other.
I guess
when you're on Facebook blowing up on each other, you don't have each other's phone numbers
in front of everybody too.
You don't have the message function. You don't have the DM function. Why do they do this in front of everyone? And it depends the level of conversation you have. See, the older I get, living in my head again, I kind of do a mental chess thing in my head. Before I respond to anything that's kind of inflammatory, I think, is this person going to get offended by what I say? And do I care what this person even thinks of me? I like really think of those things really quick. Like I'm constantly like just, it's really not fair kind of, and it's, I don't want to sound rude, but I kind of have like people in different tiers. Like, is this person really gonna, Does this person deserve my opinion? Does he deserve the conversation?
I think a lot of people do that.
Is he going to respect it? Is there going to be some kind of a real dialogue?
Or is this just going to be...
What kind of relationship do I have with this person? Do I really need to tell him exactly how I feel about it? Or should I just be real vague and keep it moving? For example, with coworkers, you don't dive deep into your political opinion, like the granular level, because they're coworkers. You might do that with your friends and family. You might have a whole different level of conversation with your friend family. But I start to think about those things. Like I'm like, and I've gotten to a point now where I'm getting better at, if I can foresee that this conversation is going to lead to one of us being offended and disrespected and a relationship being hurt, I'm getting better at that. I've made strides to kind of like,
dude, you know how many times...
Not speaking as quick and like, if I'm going to, it's like, if I think he's going to respond to me this way and I'm not going to like that, just leave it alone. Yeah, just leave it alone.
Dude, you know how many times I have gone, are you kidding? Bro! Next line. And then I look at it and I go, and I hold the delete button and I delete the whole thing and then I just go and scroll. Dude, that happens almost on a daily basis.
You know what that reminds you of? Dotson. We got Dotson here.
We got Dotson. See? Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
You won the argument. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
We joke at home. It's like you can take that little prize you won there, go to 7-Eleven, and you still pay $2 for that Slurpee. You won nothing. Nothing.
You still get that. You still get that bag of chips.
You know what you did? You lost a friend.
It's unfortunate and how quick, dude. Apparently we're bashing social media today, so this or not bashing, but just bringing light to some of the dark there. I just love seeing the whole. This is one of my favorite social media posts, and I just always laugh about it because they're so serious, and it ain't that serious. If you think X, then you can go ahead.
You just go down, follow.
Go ahead and unfriend me now, and I'm like. Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Well, I feel like just everybody like that should just be unfriended altogether.
Then come on, what are you talking about?
Even if I agree with you, like this is cheesy, man. What are we talking about?
Like, and it's always never like a nuanced thing. It's always like, I'm telling you right now, if you like ripe bananas, you go ahead. Nah, it's over, dude.
We'll say what it is because we're in the middle of a transition of power.
Let's just do it.
If you voted for Trump, you
go ahead.
Unfriend yourself right now.
You're a racist and unfriend me right now.
And if you voted for Biden, you're not a patriot. Go ahead and unfriend yourself right now.
If you're a Democrat, you're my enemy. Well, I've heard that one before, and it's like, what?
I will tell you this right now.
What are we talking? What?
This is 100% not a safe. This is not me trying to be tiptoeing around anything. This is literally how I feel. I don't care about these politics.
Yeah.
I think both sides are playing us. I think both sides are two branches of the same exact tree, metaphorically. And I think they both feed off the same exact thing. They're rooted in our fear and manipulating us. And I think they have no concern. They care not that we squabble with each other, that families are split over arguments. When we said it before, when Trump was saying Hillary was the devil, but she went to his wedding and they were friends and they were hanging out and so it's like it's
a game.
This is rap beef. This is WWF. This is all phoniness to get us to bicker back and forth, to keep our attention on this train wreck that's supposed to be adults acting professionally. And
is that what that was?
Michael Jackson said, "All I want to say is that they don't really care about us."
Listen to the lyrics of that song, man.
I subscribe to that. That's all I want to say. They don't really care about us.
George Carlin. George Carlin said the same thing. They don't care about you. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care about you.
Many different things come to my mind. In this movie, The Bronx Tale, that you should watch if you haven't.
That's a great movie.
He talks about that. Was it Mickey Mantle or there was a baseball player? He was like, you think he cares that if your dad, the bus driver, has his job, if he gets fired or not tomorrow? But you care so much about him, and that's kind of a cold thing to tell a kid. But it's a very important life lesson when you start idolizing people, politicians, sports people. You start putting their pictures on your wall. You start saying, if you don't like this basketball player, then you're an idiot.
Your opinion matters.
That guy does not care whether your parents or not have a job tomorrow, whether you're homeless on the street. He does not care.
There's just nothing there.
And I hate to be cold and say only care about the people that care about you. I'm just saying put your energy into people that are around you, that care about you, that are really your cheerleaders, that are really going to do what they can do for you. That's people you need to worry about respecting and paying honor to. Not these people that don't know you and couldn't care whether you fell off the face of the earth tomorrow or not.
I'm trying to think. There was a quote that went right with that. What is it? I can't can't remember. Anyway, I got a number of them here that I wanted to talk about today.
All right, so I'm just going to quote Charlie Murphy, may he rest in peace, because he seemed like a really cool guy.
Let's hear it, man. I got to read this book, by the way, his autobiography.
I liked it. I read it in a day and a half.
I got to read it. I'm going to have to borrow it.
Okay, so Charlie Murphy, and I will do his voice for it.
Oh, yeah. He's like, man, let me tell you something, man.
He's like, back then we were the darkest people in the world, according to Rick James.
This
is before Wesley Snipes.
We were the blackest dudes in Hollywood. Me and my brother.
Yeah. According to Rick James.
Oh, Charlie Murphy, man.
I thought that'd be the last time we do that, but he's a habitual line stepper.
He's a habitual
line
stepper. Wrong. All right, let's hear it.
So Charlie in his book, he says, things that aren't important tend to fall naturally to the wayside as you sharpen your focus in what it is you really want. I've messed it up, so I'm going to read it again. Things that aren't important tend to fall naturally to the wayside as you sharpen your focus in what it is you really want. I know there are tons of people with more talent than me in every field I've pursued, but hard work, tenacity, and seizing moments when they have been presented to me are what have always led me to good things, the best things. So Charlie Murphy talking about just stay consistent, break your back, and it'll work out in the end.
It's a really good point. You know, I could say the same. I haven't done too much in my life, but I've done some things, and I try to impart that onto my son. It's like, listen, dude, there is always gonna be somebody better. There just is. Like, it's just better or worse. I mean, you know, so don't wrap yourself up in somebody else's stuff. Just worry about you and your goals and what you can do to get better, man.
Yeah, no, love yourself. I tell the kids, and more Annalise now, because she's of the age we start understanding these things. The first thing you have to do is respect yourself. Mm-hmm. Are you proud of the things you've done? Not would dad be proud, not would mom be proud, not would they be upset. Because kids in at a certain age, we know this. If you should know this anyway. If you're listening to this now, at some point you were a kid. You know that at some point, really, all you're worried about is, will this make mom and dad mad? That's really that's as far as you think. Will this make them mad? If they found out I did this, would they make them mad? And at some point, you get a little older and you're like, would this make them proud?
Right. That changes.
I think the key is get beyond that and reach a level where you're like, would this make me proud? Mm-hmm. Am I going to be happy? I've had deep conversations in my house, even my wife, but I've told the kids, everyone in the house has heard this from me. Whatever decision you make, don't think about what I would say about it. I want you to stand on that decision. I want you to be proud of that decision and justify it and explain why you did the things you did, and don't point the finger at anyone anytime. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear because of this person, that person, because of this circumstance. I made this decision because I thought this was the best because of this. That's it. If I agree with it or not should not be the priority. I don't think. Be proud of yourself and make the move, because one day I will die, and what are you going to do? You're going to live in his memory. What would he have done? It's craziness. It's craziness. Which quote you got?
Here's one. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. That was Steve Jobs. It's a wonderful one.
There's that whole idea of like the whole cliche keeping up with the Joneses. You heard this, right?
I lied.
Or now in social media days, you see an acronym, and we're going to school people that might not. The whole FOMO. Have you seen this? Feeling of missing out. You see this a lot.
Oh, I've heard of this.
FOMO. This feeling of missing out. This is a very real thing, and it's a very powerful psychological thing.
I've heard of this. Yes. It's a lot with the youth these days.
It's a lot with everybody. I think that's part of the whole midlife crisis thing. That's the whole, you get 45, 50 years old, I got to have that Corvette because people around my age are very successful and they have the things they want. I got to go get one too. Like,
that's what I need to do.
It's your part reliving your youth, and part there's an expectation that by, 40 or 50, you should have it made. There's been this, right? Like society level, it's like 40, 50, you should not be figuring it out. You should be looking at your retirement, and you should be living the high life.
Now you're coasting for the rest of your life.
As far as financially. Yeah, that's the idea. Truth is, the older we get, I'm like, I'm pretty sure of what I want to do in my life, and I think I'm going down that path. But who I am, that's an ongoing journey over and over. And the older I get, the more I see 50 and 60-year-olds, and I'm like, oh, you guys don't know what you're doing either. Like you had me convinced when I was 18 years old that you had the answer to everything.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this a lot. Growing up, it's like you look at that age group and you go, man, I want to be just like these guys. Like, man, and then you get older and you're like, oh, you guys are kind of corny. You guys are a little not what I was expecting. It's It's like going to meet the Wizard of Oz or something. At the end, it's like, wait, what?
You can't meet your heroes.
You can't meet your heroes. Like, wait a minute.
You cannot meet your heroes. You're not as funny as I thought you were.
No, you're not at all, actually. And you got just as many issues as I do, and maybe in some cases more.
And I got friends that like who's ignorance seems like such a harsh word, but the Webster's Dictionary of Ignorance. Like, your ignorance is no longer as funny as it used to be. Mm-hmm. I'm like, at some point you got to read a book, dude. At some point you got to just gain some knowledge. At some point,
well, you're affecting other people by your ignorance. You know what I mean? The more people you affect,
and not just read a book, but at some point you have to actively gain knowledge, dude. You can't stop. And I get it. Reading
Easier
is not
for some people.
Reading is not for everyone, man. It's not.
Oh, it's not the only way.
Yeah, it's not. And because I say read a book, I don't want to make it seem like he thinks he's great because he just read one book. No, learn something, man. Just beyond just the soap opera and reality TV shows. Go on YouTube. There's great reality TV shows where you're learning how to. Right now, we watch this thing where they're making knives. It's got an educational aspect to it. You learn a couple of things that you didn't know about it. Knife making is a little more complicated than you thought it was. It's interesting. Something, man, beyond the soap operas and the silliness and the watching people date and their divorce shows and their the 30-day fiance, whatever the heck this is called, stuff like this. Like, there's other things, man. You ever watch? Do you know who Sir David Attenborough is? Because if you don't, we don't belong in the same room.
Matt and Tony finally struck the chord that made their show successful by insulting everyone.
Yeah, everyone. Everyone is over. This is he tapped into his inner 50 Cent.
That's right.
And dissed everyone that's watching.
Hey, I got something for you, podcast audience.
Yeah. I got something for you, Flunt.
If you go read one book.
Yeah, no. If you can read a page out here, pot a book.
Pot a book.
Forget the ASL challenge.
Oh, dude. Anyway. All right, man. A lot of craziness has happened this past week, and we told ourselves we weren't going to get too much into it because it dominates the news right now. Do you want to say anything about the recent happenings in our nation's capital?
Yeah, just real quick, because people have their minds made up, right? Yeah. And again, this is very polarizing for reasons that I don't understand. I will say this. Yes, there are hypocrisies and hypocrites on both sides of this spectrum. You can nitpick little details and say, but businesses were lit on fire. No, but glass was broken, but this, that, and the other. My only take on it is I thought the nation's capital was a line that would never be crossed.
Regardless of who you are.
I thought that would never be crossed. Say what you will about what, oh, no, but he burnt the building and he broke this. I thought the nation's capital was like, we talked about it. I thought the White House, the Pentagon, and to me, the nation's capital is the top of the top.
Is the Capitol building.
A lot of people see the White House because but I think the White House is residence. I think it's more symbolic.
Yeah, it's a residence, dude. It's a residence.
That's a residence. It's really the nation's capital.
It's the capital. It's where it all goes down.
I for sure never thought in my mind that would be met, that anyone would ever interpret that as okay. I never thought that. And to see that has been shocking and disappointing to me. Some people feel like it was justified and it was time to do it. I disagree with that. And I was shocked to see that that line could be crossed and many would excuse it.
It's going to be
the capital, man. It's a big deal.
It's going to be very interesting in the coming weeks to see charges being filed against individuals who participated in said actions. I just turning on the news. I lived in DC. I was in the Marine Corps in DC. I mean, I performed at the Capitol. Like, I've been there. Like, to see that was insane to me. And what was even more insane was how calm everybody's been about it.
Generally, it seems like it's like not a big deal.
Okay, well, and it's kind of over. And came and went. And I'm like,
maybe I was wrong. Maybe the Capitol's not a big deal. Maybe there's nothing sacred.
Let's just strip it all back and let's just look at some facts here. That is a federal building, and you are freaking trespassing. So let's just start there. We're trespassing on federal property. It's a little bit more severe than most buildings in our society. Any kind of federal building, let alone the freaking Capitol, the vice president, and
the entire power structure
and
was
a
in that
number
building.
of important politicians were there, and they seized it. Like, I'm like, what year are we living in? Like, what is going on? I couldn't believe it. So you got that. I know a lot of people were saying this is grounds for obstruction of justice, which I don't know. I did a little research on this. This is a very severe punishment for obstruction of justice. This is not a hey you broke curfew in D.C. at 6 p.m. This is not a little slap on the wrist. This is a legit big deal.
So for the last year, the clamor from the crowd of people that were involved in the events that took place at the Capitol, their war cry was, if you damage any monument or anything, you should go to jail for 10 years.
Well, our commander-in-chief
reiterated that.
Made it so.
And he heard the people, and if you touch a monument, if you so much as spit on one of these statues, on a building,
break anything,
you will go to jail for 10 years.
Minimum.
We also heard from one side of this these social issues, we also heard that the protesting is not correct. There's other ways to get your point across. You don't have to destroy anything. You don't have to do any of that. There's other ways to be heard. You don't have to kneel. There's other ways to be heard. So I thought there were other ways to be heard.
I thought there were too.
I thought there were other ways to be heard. You could have. Did you see that there was video? The president did say, he was like, we're going to walk up the Capitol Hill right now.
Oh, no.
They went, but he was not in that crowd.
No, he wasn't.
He was not.
Where you at, dude?
He said, let's go walk up there.
So here we are. This was kind of baffling, too, because the dust is settled now, at least from my perspective, and I'm looking at it.
According to them, it hasn't.
Okay, well, apparently we're far from over. So here's dude, you lost, bro. You lost. Bunch of crybabies. Anyway, it's anyway. Yeah. So whatever. So my question is this. Recently, we had a number of high-profile Black Lives Matter protests and assemblies in the nation's capital that were planned and we knew about them. We had the National Guard there, ready. We had places cordoned off. This is where you'll go. We had police ready to rock and roll. It was a little different the other night.
People were being told where they could protest. They were given areas. You will do it here. If you leave this area, you will be arrested. And we're not playing around with you.
The fact that this had been talked about for days leading up to it, that this was going to happen, I didn't know storming and putting my feet up on senators' desks was going to be a fucking thing. But they knew that there was going to be a large protest and gathering at the Capitol. They knew this. Where was the security? Where was everything at?
To be clear about something, too.
It was like an hour into this whole thing. I'm watching it live. Then here comes the ceremony. Here they come in a mile-long line. All the officers, and here we come. I'm like, guys, you're an hour late. Like, what are we talking about?
You had days to prepare. You had weeks and months to prepare.
What?
For months now, it was said, there's sound bites all over saying, if I lose, this was a fraud.
I'm so surprised it did not get, really
worse.
bad.
It could have been worse.
I think that's the point.
If there was fraud,
how could this have been so? It just seems like wasn't that big? Okay, it wasn't that big of a deal, dude. What? Capital.
The allegation of fraud is very serious, and I wish there was proof. I wish there was. Many people would say there's plenty of proof, but you cannot.
But where's
you cannot produce this
proof?
There's plenty of reports from whatever. You have to produce the proof. Many judges.
It's just, and it's not just with this. It's with anything. You just
have to provide.
We got to have some proof. Unfortunately, we have to have the proof.
We're a nation of laws, and laws require proof, and no one was able to provide actual proof. There was not a single judge that said that there was proof.
From a side of the aisle that is so hell-bent on law and order, where was it?
It was allowed.
Where was it?
It was clearly allowed. Here's my thing, and to be clear, I 100% support everyone going in thousands and thousands, standing on those Capitol steps and yelling whatever you want to yell. When you kick the door down, you lost me. That's all to be honest, to me, there's no debate with that. If you wanted to stand out there with any signs you wanted and yell whatever you want from those steps, you could have 100,000 people out there flooded from the Capitol all the way to the Washington Monument.
That's what makes this country beautiful.
Yelling whatever you want, whatever it is you want to yell. I am not going to say nothing. When you kick that door down, you lost me. I can't support that at all. I'm away from it now. Now whatever happens, and people get hurt behind that stuff, and it's very sad for people to get hurt. But at the same time, what did you expect exactly?
Yo, this wasn't a Target. This wasn't a Walmart, dude. This was the freaking Capitol building.
For some reason, I thought the same way if I walk into Oceana right now, I would expect that I'm going to catch a bullet in the head.
Like, dude, I'm coming in.
I see the Capitol as the same exact way. Like, this is
like
not
almost more.
It's a federal building. It's protected by the military. I thought it was protected by snipers left and right. Like, I for sure, like in my mind, thought this is like a movie.
Guess not.
And if you step in there, you're catching a sniper bullet to the back of the head.
It looked like they had a freaking skeleton crew there.
Yeah.
That were quickly overwhelmed, and you made the point the other day on the phone because we talked for like 3 hours the other day as this was going on.
It was actually literally 3 hours. It was pretty funny.
No, it was 3 hours. We made fun of the fact that wow, we've been talking for 3 hours. I'm just like, it was harrowing to watch how quickly they were just taken over, and then what does that say to our enemies?
Oh yeah, no, I saw a meme that had Bin Laden saying, "Oh, so you telling me I could have just walked in the front door the whole time?"
Like, oh, I guess I could have just went in there.
I could have just walked in, like
just walked in. Anyway,
there are ways to do this. I do take the allegations of fraud serious. I wish there was proof. And I wish this conversation could be different. I think what I'm asking for and I expect is very logical. There's a very serious allegation on there. Yes, if those things were true, then us being cheated out of our voice is a very serious offense. And then we could have a whole different conversation about maybe that type of response was warranted. If there was proof, if there was irrefutable proof and this was still taken from us, that the American people chose to go a whole different way, yet there's a power structure that said, nope, you ain't getting what you asked for.
Sure, and that's a really good point.
Then I might say, you know what? I'm going to stay out of this debate. I wouldn't go over there necessarily and die for it. But I could see why some people felt that way. But there was no proof, man. I can't say onward and upward, Excelsior to this particular issue because no one brought forth any real evidence of it besides rumors and talking points that other people they respect told them to repeat. I wish there was, guys. I really wish there was. And I'm being completely blunt. I mainly vote Republican. And in this particular issue, I'm like, I'm staying out of this. No proof was brought. It is what it is, guys.
You know what's funny?
You move on now. You live and you learn and you move on.
I texted you when it was going down. I texted you 2 screenshots of 2 different news outlets with 2 different, very, very different headlines on what was going on. The age of spin has been upon us for a long time, and it was very comical to read a certain news's headline and made it seem like nothing really was. And then the other one was all caps. They've overtaken the Capitol, and it's like all this. It's a wild time to be alive, people. It's a wild time. A little scary in a lot of regards.
And I will ask people this too. Don't let your ideals come at the cost of other people's safety. Go risk your own safety. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe that's exactly what they did, right? I don't know. But you can make the argument that you risk the safety of those people that were inside just trying to do a job.
The fact that they thought that we can go do that and now we'll be all right. They're not going to kill us. They're not going to shoot us.
There's a very deep conversation
That's
there.
That's insanity, dude.
And I would implore people to search within and just think about the fact that there was a group of people that not only thought they could do it, they knew they can do it.
They knew they can do it, and they knew it was going to be fine. They were going to get in there, and they were just going to be ushered out, and they can go home.
And sure, some will get arrested. Maybe many will get arrested. But they knew in the grand scheme of things that nothing would happen to them. And maybe the nothing, let's be very clear. They knew that there was not going to be just people standing from the roof of that building shooting down at them.
Yeah.
They knew it. And they know how to play the game, those people in those crowds. If you saw the video, a lot of them walked in with their hands up. And that's like the symbolic, like, you can't do nothing to me because I walked in with my hands up. Like,
what a crowd it was, too. What a crowd of people it was.
Well, and they're looking for their faces, right? They're looking for their names and faces. You guys were proud of what you did. Just turn yourselves in. You Patriots, right? Just, yeah, that was me. That was me. I was there.
No, that was me. Yeah,
I was there taking like when I stood up there and took a picture and was like, yeah, the revolution starts now. Well, they're looking for you. They want to talk to you about the revolution. They wanted to have a few words with you. Just go talk to them. They got your picture everywhere. Just go reach out. Stop.
Another comment I saw on the internet that made me laugh about this whole thing was was the picture of the guy with the podium going.
Mm-hmm.
And he's walking out with the podium. They were like, well, I mean, it's his. I mean, he's a taxpayer. I mean, taxpayers paid all that. I mean, it's his. What? What?
They said this is our house when they walked in.
This is our house.
Our house.
Well, your taxpayer money also goes to those F-18 Hornets over there at Oceana. I mean, you could probably just go walk over there and take a little tour around. It's your base, right?
It's my base. Those are my guns.
Anyway, we can go on and on about this. It's just absolutely crazy out there.
I will quote my friend Jerome. Don't get louder, just make your point better.
Learn how to argue.
Learn how to articulate yourself.
Yeah.
Don't yell, don't get louder. Just learn how to make your point better.
I'm sure we're gonna have some crazy updates this time next week. We'll have more to talk about, I'm sure.
Well, by the 20th, yeah, this is gonna get dragged on for a while, and then there's the virus to deal with. My goodness, the virus. I saw Dr. Fauci, of all people, Dr. Fauci interviewed with Joe Budden, which I thought was real cool because I'm like, I see him as like no disrespect to him, not like he's ever gonna see this, but I see him like a C-level celebrity. Like I kind of see him like he's not that far removed from us in terms of just a regular guy. He's been
Fauci?
around. No, Budden. Joe Budden.
Okay.
Joe Budden is like, he rubs shoulders with some important people, like famous people and stuff like that. But him himself, he's not like, this is not Jay-Z. This is not Eminem.
right.
Like, but he's been in those rooms, so it's like cool. It's like, it's not super far removed from us. He seems like a regular person. And to see him talking to Fauci like on his podcast, I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's dope. Like, that's a cool platform to have.
I say that to say that Fauci was saying that if the words he used was, if we did a full court press on pushing the vaccine, he thinks that like optimistically it would be like by the end of spring of this year where things would start to go back to normal.
Oh wow.
And he was saying that's if we were all hands on deck pushing and everyone get vaccinated.
Why even say that though? Because that's not. It's a literal impossibility.
Yeah, I don't.
It is.
There's a lot of distrust in the community.
It is.
And as far as vaccines, I'll say this: we should just be sensitive to that as well. Not everybody has the same level of trust, and if you want to get it, go get it. If you don't, I hope you're being safe in all other areas of your life. I hope you're masking up. I hope you're keeping distance or whatever the heck. Stay away from everybody else. Then, if you choose to go without it, you know what I mean. Like, be responsible. Don't let your morals and stuff like that dictate the safety of others. If you choose to not get it, then don't go around people that got like, I don't get it. I ain't afraid of no. Respect the people that are afraid of it. If you want to call it fear or whatever, just respect it. It's fine. But there are rational fears for not getting a vaccine. If you do some reading and stuff like that, you can see some very logical and rational reasons to not get it. Respect those things too. But there's plenty of reasons to get it. So a lot of research has gone into it. A lot of good results. Make your choice. But I guess the theme always that we talk about is just be respectful to everybody else, man. It's not that hard. Mind your business and just respect the opinion of others. And kind of what we talked about in the beginning of this thing. If you won that argument, what do you win really? You lose a friend. So you don't have to debate till you're blue in the face and say you're a moron for getting a vaccine. You're a moron for not getting the vaccine. It's a very serious decision, I think. So let other people make it respectfully.
Be nice, everybody.
Be nice. Stay safe. Be humble. Be gracious, for we have received much grace in our lives as well.
I'm Matt.
This is Tony.
And this is the Tsunami Podcast.
I don't like that one. Let's do it again.
I'm going to miss.
Oh, are you serious?
Come on. Me and my wife do that. We'll purposely miss high fives.
You did that on your wedding.
Yeah.